Hello! Welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. Warning, retirement is going to spoil you, Doc. It has me anyways, Doc, already. You know, I honestly believe that this year that I'm more looking forward to and more excited about this year and going forward in retirement than I was last year. You know, that first year of retirement is great, Doc. You're going to love it when you get there. You just are. You know, that stress from work falls away. Your worries and concerns about retirement, they kind of slip away. You kind of get a little bit lighter feeling on your feet, you know. That weight off of you like that. You can throw that daggone alarm clock away. You can do that thing you always wanted to do, but you didn't have time for while you were working and raising a family and everything. You know, it's a good time, but it's a rough time too, because it's something you've never been through before. You really don't know. You know, you really don't know how retirement's going to be until you get out there and get into it. I mean, that's the way it was for me. You know, so and it makes sense. I mean, you're essentially rebuilding your whole life. You know, you're breaking up old habits and routines and building totally new ones. You know, it's a hard thing to do. That's why I say, you know, that first year is a great year, but it's also a rough year. It's a busy year. I mean, I learned so much last year. I had mistakes I had to fix. There was trial and error in just about everything I did. So, I mean, it's a rough year. I figured last year, that first year was probably going to be one of my roughest years in retirement. Once I get to the point of my health starting to fail, friends and loved ones starting to pass away, those are going to be trying years for me. Those are going to be rough years. But those middle few years between the learning and the health problems and stuff, and the later in the retirement, is a sweet spot. And I hope to have quite a few years in that, because that's when the spoiling begins, Doc. That's the way I feel right now. You know, because after last year, learning what I did, you know, and practicing and figuring things out, I've gotten to the point now that I'm at a reverse stage of that one more year thing. Instead of looking what I'd lose by retiring, I'm looking at what I'd lose by having to go back to work. Or it's not so much the having to. If I got to, I got to, Doc. I ain't got no problem in that. But it's not something I'm going to willingly do. Not on a full-time job, I can tell you that. But I mean, you know, them little morning meetings I have with the wife, what I call them. We used to have morning meetings every day at work. But those little morning meetings, we have our little coffee, an hour or two, just sit there and, you know, talk about things or whatever, you know. I mean, they couldn't pay me double to go back to work and give that up. You know, it's priceless. It really is for me. You know, and it's the freedom you get in retirement that I mean, you just get used to this stuff, and you couldn't imagine life being any other way. You know, the freedom I get, you know, that we buy when we retire. You know, we worked all them years, saved that money, tried to do the right thing, and we bought us some free time in life, not just in retirement, but in life. And it gives you to me, that is more important than what I do or when I do or how I do anything. You know, that option is what was important for me and what I was looking for. You know, it's something a lot of people don't have the luxury of, and we're fortunate that we were able to purchase that while we was working. And I ain't going to willingly give that up for nothing in the world, Doc. You know, it's A lot of times I mention on here that the slower pace of life is something I was looking forward to too, and it is. But I don't mean it's not busy. Most of the retirees I know, man, are just as busy in retirement, or busier than they ever were while they were working. They don't typically slow down until their health starts failing as they get a little older and into retirement. Yeah, that's my experience with the retirees. The ones that are healthy when they retire, they just keep cranking until stuff starts going wrong with them. Knee problem, back problem, get sick, or whatever it is. So it's not that you're actually slowing down, but you get to choose what you do, when you do it, and how. Having that option, that freedom of choice in retirement, and since you're doing it at your own pace, it just feels like life has slowed down a touch. You're not under that time crunch from a job and all the responsibilities that brings on. It's in magical middle years in retirement that I believe is what makes retirement so great. And it really does spoil you, Doc. I'm gonna tell you, man. I ain't had to wear a pair of daggone steel toes all year. I mean, it's the little stuff like that really, for me, that makes the enjoyment of retirement sustainable. Yeah, sure, it's great to go take that daggone once in a lifetime trip, but when it's over, you still gotta live. Those daily wins, I call them little retirement wins, that happen constantly, is what makes enjoyment of retirement sustainable. The steel toes. Now, I put on a pair here about 2 months ago. I was outside doing some work, so I put a pair of boots on. Used to wear them all the time, but now, I mean, it's the little stuff like that little coffee morning meeting. I wouldn't give that up for nothing in the world, man. Not willingly. And that's the way. That's the way I see retirement going from here on out. For these next few years until I start having troubles. And it really does. It really does spoil you. I mean, it spoils you rotten. It has me. Ain't had to get up at no specific time. There's just about nothing that I actually had to do if I didn't want to. That freedom of choice is just priceless for me in retirement. And that little bit of slowing down in my pace of life. If I want to cut that strip of grass and I go inside and get me a glass of tea, well, dadgummit, I can do it. I ain't got to get it done today because of daggone, I got to go work a double shift tonight, whatever. I mean, it just is. I mean, it'll spoil you rotten. It has me. I don't know, dog. Hey, man, y'all try to make as good a weekend as you can out of it. I know it's supposed to get right bad here tomorrow, so I think it's just supposed to be rain. But it's going to turn off cold as a booger, though, Doc. But y'all try to stay safe out there, and we'll talk to y'all later.